yes, every night before I sleep, I try and look at how much have we made on each of our different sales points. How much have we made? How much have we spent? Because everybody that is spending 10 naira, everything must be recorded. And I like looking at it at the end of the phone. Okay, at the end of today, I made 2,000 naira. I made 2,000 naira for the whole day. I made XYZ. On a daily or weekly basis, you should have your profit. Who is at that level? You know what you made every week. When you go to mosque or church, you know it's fantastic. Now, you need to tell yourself that in 2 months' time, everybody's hand should be what? Up. When somebody asks that question, is that a target? Yes. Because you will not succeed if you don't know what you are spending. It's impossible. Because you must monitor what is going out and what is coming what? In. Okay? So now, we have decided that maybe we see that it is cheaper to outsource outside, right? It is cheaper for whatever reason. And I'm not saying it's cheaper because there are lots of factors you should consider. The type of clothing you are making, the quality of the factory. And we're going to talk about what to look at when you are looking at factories. We're going to be extremely general. Please understand that in this training, I'm not going to talk about myself or any particular factory. We're going to be as general as what? As possible. Are we good? Yes. Fantastic. So we're going to look at what to check in the factory, what to look at, and other items. Now, what are the different pieces of your production? You have your fabric. Who should decide the fabric? We have decided to outsource now, right? Who should buy the fabric? First consideration. And remember, we are not asking the factory to give us the designs. We already have our production what? Pack, don't we? We are going to this discussion understanding the colors, the type of fabric, all those things. So who will actually buy the fabric? Huh? Why? Why? Guys, let's talk now. You know what you want. Okay. And I can save costs. That's flesh and blood does not reveal that to you.
Once you and the person you're giving the job to agrees on a particular price, you're supposed to just pay them the money, then buy the material, just supply you your job.
That also makes sense. What else? Let's discuss now. From this side, please, all the people here. Yes. Let's come here. I love this color. You wanted to say something, man? Eh? Guys, and there's one thing I want us to do and understand. Every single person here is in a different situation. There is no one right answer, but there are advantages and disadvantages of each of the words, of the options. And sometimes, don't have this feeling, and guys, I'll let you talk, just hold on. Don't have this feeling that what you are doing is absolutely what's right. Always leave room to rethink everything. I'll give you a clear-cut story. This week, for example, my fabric sourcing, I was able to adjust the fabric sourcing and the thinking, and somehow we saved 2 million naira. I can't discuss what we did or how we did it or all those things. That's business. But just by rethinking, and what we're doing, we have been doing for the past 2 years, and we thought we knew what we're doing. But just by taking advantage of certain opportunities and rethinking the entire supply chain, because when you talk about fabric, it's not just a question of quality. The first thing you think about is quality and price. It's not always quality and price that determine getting good fabric. Should I say no? Some other things that determine getting quality fabric might even be your logistics. You might actually be losing money on the taxi that is bringing the fabric from the market to your, and you are not thinking about that cost. You don't add it, you don't factor it in. How many times you are calling the person, the cost of, some people say, you are doing this. I allocate to myself credits every month, and I'm not allowed to spend more than that. Because that's part of the cost. It's part of the cost of doing what? Business. So actually, we tell people and send them SMS, please call me. They'll be like, this guy is stingy. It's fine, but it's my cost. Okay? So in case you call me, I will quickly pick your call, because I might not call back. Okay? Okay, fantastic. You wanted to tell us, okay, please go ahead, man.
I want to say that in my own experience, when I wanted to outsource, I was given the opportunity to source for the fabric myself.
Yeah.
Because the production house, you don't want to getting fabric for people and having issues. I don't know what prompted that, but I was told I was going to get my fabric myself.
Most production houses prefer you get your fabric yourself. And personally, in my own mind, I prefer getting my fabric myself. Not just for quality, it's also timeliness. I don't want that getting the fabric is what is delaying my production, or that they cannot get a particular type, and also because I believe in what is called sourcing concentration, right? We understand what that means. A couple of years ago, I met a guy selling a particular fabric, and the guy was in a small shop. I like dealing with smaller players versus the big, proud people. So I met the guy and I told him, okay, who is your wholesaler that gives you? This is the person. Okay, I want you to jump that person and go to somebody bigger. I will allocate 3,000 to 4,000 yards of this fabric to you every 2 weeks. Supply it, but you need to give me XYZ what? Price. This is a guy that sells 3 yards, 2 yards, 4 yards. But I looked at him that this guy has business what? Sense. And he was selling. He was meeting my needs. He was selling. He was doing so well that they killed him in the market. Sorry? Yes, go ahead.
When it comes to certain designs, because at times it happens to all.
Yes.
You have a design.
Yes.
Still the fabric is suitable for that design.
Yes.
But it comes out that fabric does not sit well without.
Okay, good, fantastic. So the stage you are talking about now is the sample stage. So when you are doing your bulk fabric sourcing, you have advanced beyond the sample stage, which means that at this point we have qualified what is good for that particular outfit. You never bulk buy until you have finished a sample. Now, it's actually a good point. So let's talk about that for 1 minute. Now, at the sample stage, there are two ways of doing the sample. You can ask the fashion house you are sourcing to, the production house, to do samples and send to you. I actually advise against it. The best thing actually is to do the samples yourself, to be sure, and it answers your question, because your point is actually what is supporting. Be sure the right fabric that fits this particular outfit. Be sure of that fabric. Know exactly how it looks. Then you can decide whether or not to send that sample to them. It doesn't matter whether you send it to them or not. And you can still ask them to make their own samples. But you are sure of the type of fabric that fits it. You are even sure of the colors that work for it. You are sure of the right type of trimmings and all that. Please, if you disagree with me, please disagree. Let's have a discussion, right? Nobody knows what, everything. But you are sure of a lot of things. Oftentimes, it saves you a lot of headache. Because if you go to some production houses with sketches and all that, they will not tell you that they don't understand all those things. They will do their best to meet your needs. Now, even if you get a refund on your money, you'd have lost time. That's time that you'd have been selling, that you are still using to budget. And changing production houses often is not a good thing. It's actually a very, very bad way to do business. Because there is a learning curve with every production house. The longer you spend with it, and guys, don't have the impression that you must give everything to one production house. Some people are better in shirts. Some people are better in dresses. They might not tell you what they are better in, but after a while of working with them, you understand what they do well for you and what they don't. And nobody stops you from using 3 people. There is absolutely no law that says you must put your entire life, future, hope, and destiny in the hands of one person. You have the option to be as flexible as you need to be. And there are and it's not that every single thing produced in your factory must be made outside. There are certain things, even the biggest fashion houses in the whole world, the Zara's and the rest, still have in-house tailors because they make all their samples first before they transfer it to who? To China and the other people. Because they need to see how the clothes will look like. Who watches this channel, Fashion on Fashion TV, on DSTV? If you look at a lot of them, you'll notice that they call it like a shirt, whatever. They sew those clothes themselves. They will first make it in-house, which is why I just find that it's less stressful. You may disagree, but I find that it's less stressful. And it's what the biggest fashion houses in the world do. If Zara can make it themselves and see it first in their house, I think we can also learn from them, right? So they make it, they see it, because certain fabrics, I've had people bring some fabrics to make some outfits. The outfits, good designs, fantastic thing, the fabric was a complete failure. And the guys will ask you, make 1,000 of this. And you make 1,000 or something. The person will like, but madam, can we test it? No, I'm in a hurry. I must send it to Houston in 2 weeks. Oh yeah, do overnight. Sell it, and she makes the full production, sends it over there, and the same way it arrived, the same way it is it is shipped back. And then the person is cursing you. See how I lost this one, but madam, we told you. You did not listen. Right? That's why all these discussions we're having on sourcing and the rest. If your production date, you should do it well in advance of your of your production Timing. Yes. What you are going to say, ma? Nothing.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Please, some of us are just starting and...
I'm jumping too much.
No. Like the figures you're calling is kind of...
I should use smaller figures.
Like, can you tell us how to like get into this picture that you're painting?
Okay, which picture?
Like,
Which parts?
at what point do you actually start, giving out your...
Okay, fantastic. Let me go back to the beginning.
Because the way you are starting is starting as if getting clients to actually buy your product is so easy. Because when you're just talking about production.
Wow. That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Because I just want to start with it.
Yeah.
So the way you are talking is starting as if I'm even scared already. How will I go about this?
You are scared? Madam, please. Okay, so let me go back to the beginning again. Are we clear? Fine. So first of all, sincere apologies for scaring you. It was not my words, my intention. Please, I apologize profusely. If you need me to kneel down, I can kneel down and say I'm sorry. But I apologize again and again and again. I'm sorry. Now, what I will do is I'll go through all the phases very quickly. So then before we talk about each one, right? So firstly, I have my sketches and everything. Ideally, produce your sample. You make one of each design. While you are making it, you test different fabrics, unless you are 100% sure what will work for that design. When you have made your sample, you now take the decision of whether to make it in-house or to make it outside. Now, you have projected your volumes of how many you will sell, right? For some of you, if you are just starting, maybe it's 10, 15, 20. When you have those kind of numbers, actually, it is not advisable to go outside. If it's those type of small numbers, get a good tailor and make it inside to reduce your costs, your overhead, and cancel out a lot of things. You are becoming more comfortable. God is good. So you make it inside where you are. So you make it, you decide where you want to go to. Now, if your volume is big enough and you now want to go outside, right? You go outside, you're going to select a supplier. You're going with your sample to the person, with your drawings, with your fabric, with your selection. And the first thing advisable is tell the person to produce one of each outfit. Let you see. What are you checking when you look at that first outfit? The first thing to check is not whether they got the design. Even if they didn't get the design at all, that's fixable. The first thing to go and look at is the finishing. The seams, the sewing, straightness, all those things. How is it working? Does it look like, even if the design is not perfect, it can hopefully be perfect? Or will it never get there? So you will check all those things, then you look at the outside. Then ideally, don't just fit it on a mannequin. Actually get somebody to wear it. It's advisable that you do not make the sample for yourself. We have this bad habit. Please don't do it. Make it on a model so you can look at the front, you can look at the back, you can look at the side. Madam disagrees with me.
No, we actually talk that's what we do.
Yes.
Because we know what we see happening
And how do you now market?
The market, this is not a marketing class now. Okay. You have fitted it, you are sure that they can make the samples come out well. Now, don't expect the samples to come out perfect the first time. You will give them feedback. They'll work on the samples, they will adjust the clothes. Now you have gotten them where you want them to be. They now produce. You agree a production timing, 2 weeks, 1 week, 3 weeks, 1 year, whatever timing you agree. They produce, they deliver, you sell. Now, for some, there are two models in this. You can cut to order, which is, as customers are ordering, after that first set, you produce 20. Somebody orders size 18, size 12, size 10, and you tell the production house, can you be making 1 or 2? Please always have that discussion before you start. Most production houses will say yes to that because it doesn't cost them anything. It's extra income. And don't forget, they already have your patterns, they have everything. The only thing they really require is the fabric. So they get it, and then they're making the 1, the 2, the 3. I actually prefer that model versus producing in bulk. And I'll tell you my reasons why I prefer that. Number one, you don't know what will sell. That's the God honest truth. As much as you like the style, you are not going to wear 50 clothes. Are you going to wear 50 clothes at once? You are not. So you're only going to wear 2 at a time, only 1. So because you're not going to wear it, and because you're not making it entirely for yourself, you need to know what will work for customers. And all the trend analysis and what other people tell you does not work. All those things are just what is selling in their store, may not sell in your own store. So I actually prefer the first production. You make little quantities. Then based on how that particular line is selling, you now expand the numbers. Then when you notice that your numbers are doing well, you now look at other what? Colors. When you notice other colors are doing well, you now look at expanding size. Should I now start putting this in plus what? Size. And you make sure that whatever is happening within your production, you have what is called a feedback mechanism. That is that you are listening to what customers are what? Are saying. There's a person that went into making a particular brand of outfits just because people kept asking for that thing. And she was now like, why are people always asking for this? I don't what? Have it. The question is not to be asking such questions. The question is quickly go and buy it, have it, and make the what? Money. I believe in the principle of a customer should never leave an interaction with you without spending money. If you don't buy skirts, you buy shorts. If you don't buy shorts, you will buy what? Dress. If you don't buy dress, you buy pants. But you must actually buy what? Something. That person's money must enter your what? Your accounts. That is that's my personal principle. I think my time is up. Do we have any questions? Since we have 5 minutes more, let's answer production questions. Yes, ma'am. When the second or third set of samples don't come out well, then move on. And make sure that they know. Don't ever write off a production house. And I'll tell you why. Number one, they may not be good in that outfit, but they may be experts at something else. The mistake a lot of us make is that we emotionally discuss with production houses. We get so emotional, we shout, we argue, and you probably, the next design you have, they may be the best people at it. But you have burnt the bridge to the extent that you can never do what? Go back. Remember that the people you are dealing with, they are human beings. Their businesses like what? Like you. An ideal situation is that even a no should be said in such a way. You know, you can tell somebody you are mad and the person will thank you for it. There's a way you will say it in such a way that the person will feel that we can have further discussions in the what? In the future. Did I answer your question, ma? Any other question? There are plenty. Instagram. There are plenty in Instagram. Talk to them. Chat 20, choose 5. Talk to 5, come down to 3, choose 1. There are many across. Hashtag mass production. Hashtag garment factory. Hashtag Lagos, made in Lagos. Yeah? Any other question? Exactly. Any of those hashtag works? Yes, ma'am. It depends on the production house. But typically, you should not outsource if you are doing 30 a month. If you are doing small numbers like 30, 40, there is no point. But if you have absolutely no tailors, no money to buy machine, no resources, no hope of getting it, but you have enough money for the fabric and for production cost per unit, outsource. It depends on what you're making. See, that question, heaven has not answered it, because it depends on what you are making. It's like you asking me what is the cost of a beaded jumpsuit made with cashmere fabric and then a shift dress made with polyester. What's the cost difference? It's night and what? And day. It's a very hard question. This is not jam now. Any other questions before we go? It's over, Abi. I hope this production was not boring. You are not looking happy. What did I do? Huh? I have 17 more slides, but it's fine. It's the time. It's over.